Great.
Today we are going to be starting a new lesson on the economic development of the United States. The standard for this lesson is, the economic development of the United States continues to influence and be influenced by agriculture, industry, and natural resources in Ohio. So before we begin our lesson today, don't you think it's important to really understand our three bold vocab words from this lesson? Do you think that it'll be important for us to really understand them, especially since we're going to be reading and learning about them?
Yeah, you have to know what they mean or the reading won't make any sense.
Right, exactly. So today, we are going to be learning a new reading strategy to build on your vocabulary. This strategy will help you to build on your prior knowledge to further extend your comprehension from the reading. So this strategy is called word mapping, or we're going to be using a word map. Word mapping is a way to represent and link information on a word visually in a meaningful way. It is a way to study a word or concept by looking at related elements. So today, I'm going to be teaching you how to use the word map. So this will help you to develop your understanding of a word. It will also act as a tool that you can use to build on your prior knowledge, linking existing information to further your comprehension by visually representing new information into different categories. And our three categories today are our question mapping. Questions are, what is it like, and what are some examples for a specific word? So today we are going to use, like I said, we're going to use word map, and word mapping will really enlarge your understanding of a word and its meaning, allowing you to incorporate the word in your understanding and being able to use it in reading and writing and speaking and even thinking. So we are going to use this strategy to help you really learn about and read how to categorize using our three mapping questions. What you know about the three concepts that influence the economic development of the United States. So the three words we're going to be focusing on today, they're in your book. They're the highlighted or bolded words in your book. They are agriculture, industry, and natural resources. So raise your hand if you know anything about those three bolded vocabulary words. If you've heard of them, if you have some background knowledge, anything. Yeah, okay, good. I see some hands. So everyone should have a piece of paper in front of them that should look just like this. It should say word map on the top, and it should look just like this. It should have the word, it should have what is it like, and what are some examples. Thumbs up if everyone has that. Great. So to better comprehend the reading, we need to understand our three vocab words. So let's try the first one together. The first word is agriculture. So I'm going to put my book down. On your paper, you're going to write the word agriculture. So, agriculture is our first word. Can anyone tell me what agriculture is? Maybe close your eyes and think about, what is agriculture to you? When I say the word agriculture, what do you think of?
Like a farm and cornfields and cows.
Right, exactly. So to me, agriculture, what is it? It's practice of farming. So I'm going to write the practice of farming. And you can follow along, right? The practice of farming. So the next question, our next mapping question is, what is it like? What is agriculture like? So to me, agriculture is something, it's like a food source. It can be something where things grow. Growing things. It involves the environment.
It can be a way to make money, like business.
Right, it's like a business, exactly. So it makes money. Good, exactly, that's great. So then some examples of agriculture. When I think of agriculture, I really think of raising animals. I also think about growing crops.
How about digging in the dirt?
Digging in the dirt, that's a great one. Right, exactly. So these are some really good examples. So this is a really good way to categorize what we already know. So you know how I remember things best? I like to draw pictures. So can anyone think of something that represents agriculture to them? What's something, when you think of agriculture, what pops in your head?
Like a cow in the cornfield.
Right, exactly. So to me, I think about a tractor. Maybe like a tractor in the field. Oops, I switched it. And the little person sits up here. And the sun's out, and he's working, and the corn's growing, or the crops. So when we come back to the word agriculture, when we're reading and we think of the word agriculture, we can really use this to think of, oh, I know that agriculture is the practice of farming. It's when you raise animals, or you grow crops, or even when you dig in the dirt. It also is a food source. It's a business. It brings in money. It's growing things. It's the environment, right?
And using a tractor.
Right, yeah, and using a tractor. So do you think this is an easier way to understand the word agriculture?
Yeah.
So maybe just reading a definition?
Yeah, I like that there's a picture because now I can remember it when I'm reading.
Right, exactly. If you draw pictures, that kind of relates to last week's visualizing lesson that we did, really understanding information by drawing pictures and visualizing it. Right, exactly. So we are going to work on our next two words, industry and natural resources. Each word needs to be on a new word map. So I have given you two big pieces of paper. I'm going to give you about 10 or 15 minutes. If you want to work with a partner, you can. If you finish early, partner share with the person next to you. Remember, this is just what you already know or think about each word. We're going to be working on building your background knowledge, your vocabulary background knowledge to better comprehend the word during the reading. So use the three mapping questions. What is it like, and what are some examples if you need help. I'm going to be coming around and helping if you need. Remember, you have about 10 to 15 minutes.
I'm doing industry.
Okay, great. So what were some, for the first mapping question is, what is it? So what did you say for the first mapping?
Like a factory with smokestacks and stuff.
Right, so you said making things in a factory.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. And then so for what is it like? When you think of the word industry, what do you think it's like?
Like you're making stuff, you're producing things and
Right.
building and constructing things
Exactly.
to sell.
Great. So what are some examples of industry? I know, like, when I think of an industry, I kind of think of like farming or maybe mining.
Making steel and making cars.
Right,
and stuff.
exactly. Yeah, good. And I really like your picture. When I think of industry, I definitely think of a factory. Yeah,
Thanks.
that's a really good idea. Really great. I really like how he drew his picture, and I can see exactly what he's thinking. And he used all of his mapping questions to really build on his vocabulary before we do the reading. So
Want to hang this one up?
Yep. Let's come back together. We will go over each one. So our first word, well, our second word actually, is industry. So let's go over and let's share. So our first word is industry. So what is industry? So I see that you wrote, what is it? Industry is making things in a factory. That is great. What is it like? What did you say it's like?
It's like going to work and building stuff and constructing things that you're going to sell for money.
Right, exactly. So he wrote a few ideas: selling, working, producing, constructing, making money, manufacturing. Great. And you have some really good examples. He has mining, farming, cutting down trees, metal, steel, glass. Exactly, right. And he has a great picture. So when he thinks of industry, he thinks of factories. Great. Does anyone want to share their next one? The next one is natural resources. Anyone would like to share their next one?
Sure.
And these are really great ideas to really build on your vocabulary before we read so that we know what we're reading about. What these words mean instead of just reading and saying, I don't know what that means. Right, exactly. So our next word is natural resources. So what is natural resources to you? What did you write down?
Stuff that comes from nature.
Right, materials that can be used from nature, exactly. So what is it like when I say natural resources? What is that like to you?
It's like the environment, stuff that's around you in nature.
Right, exactly. So he said maybe like recycling, using new things, making new things. It's helpful to people. It's in the environment. Exactly. And he has a lot of great examples some natural resources. You want to read some of them?
Yeah, like the sun, you can get solar panels in your house for power.
Right.
And water and trees and plants and wind.
Exactly.
Coal.
Right, exactly. And he has a nice visual. What did you create here so that you remember?
I drew like a nature scene with trees and a river and rocks and stuff.
Exactly. So, do you see how word maps can really help you to understand a word better? Really builds on your vocabulary?
Yeah, it's really cool because if I didn't do this before I read the reading, I might forget what the word means, but now having all these other words that are associated with it and seeing a picture in my mind, it's going to be really helpful.
Right, exactly. So now before you read, you can use this strategy to really build on your vocab, build on your prior knowledge, and make connections to further your comprehension to really make the reading make sense to you. This is a really good way to visually represent new information, right?
Yeah, I like the 3 categories, like what is it, what are some examples, what's it like.
Right.
That really helps making learning new words like easier.
Right, it really helps to build
easier.
on your vocabulary knowledge. Exactly. So do we see how using a word map can really enlarge your understanding of words? And now that you know the words, you can use them in your thinking, your speaking, your writing, and your reading?
Yep.
Thumbs up if you really like this strategy. Exactly. So this is a really easy and meaningful way to remember and build on your vocabulary. And we can even hang these posters around the room so that when we're reading, instead of having to go back to our bolded, highlighted words, we can just use our posters and look around the room and say, oh, okay, I know that natural resources, trees, rocks, water, sun, wind, coal. And it's a good way. So now that we better understand our 3 vocabulary words and the 3 things that influence our economic development in the United States, we can really begin our reading. Great job.
Yay.
Great work.